All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So, it's that time of the week again where we call these 20 pairs. We analyze and break down 20 pairs using fxalexg set and forget strategy to try and find out the best pairs that we'll be willing to take in the new week. Right. So, coming over to my charts, you can clearly see. Let's go to Euro JPY, Euro GBP. So last week was a crazy one, right? Because I actually lost last week. So let me just show you guys, right? Transparency. So last week I was actually calling for a sell on Euro GPP. So if you look at the Telegram channel, you can see that Euro JPY I was calling for buys, Euro AUD I was calling for sales, GBP AUD I was calling for sales, and the last one was Euro GPP, right? So this was the one I actually took out of the tree, and funny enough, this other tree played out to perfection, and then the only pair I took, which is this one, actually reversed back to stop loss when it was about just 6 pips to take profit, when it was just about 6 pips to take profit, right? So that was just ridiculous. But I'm not actually mad about this loss, right? I'm not actually mad. The direction I was calling went, it's just that it didn't last for that long. And I actually know why it reversed, because of the daily structure points, right? We did not have a very clear take profit target. So we are just targeting 1:2 in this case, right? So it just happens, it's part of the game. But let us see what we have for this new week, by the way. Alright, coming over to the first pair, Euro GPP, right? So this pair, let us see what we have here. So this market structure right now on the daily time frame is currently bullish. Wow, it's currently bullish. So daily time frame is bullish, weekly time frame is bearish, right? Weekly time frame is bearish, 4-hour time frame is bullish currently, right? So we have two time frame in sync to the upside. So we have daily and 4-hour telling us is bullish, right? So, but let us see what my actual thought process on this is, if we can get an area of interest and all those stuff. Now, I don't feel confident in buying Euro GPP. I will try. I'm trying to explain why I don't feel confident, but it's not coming in. I don't know how to really make it understandable, but I don't actually feel confident buying Euro GPP. So I'll just sit it out this week, right? I'll just sit it out this week. It's very likely in my buy, but it's also very likely in my sell. So let's go over to the next pair, Euro USD. Let's see what we have. Daily time frame. All right. So now daily time frame on Euro USD, right, is very bullish, right? Now, as you can see from last week, we were expecting the price to come back to area and potentially buy, right? Now, this right here is now going to be our final take profit target, right? There's no need to delete anything here because we have a clean area of interest. We have a support and resistance area where anytime we are below this area, we are selling to the downside strongly. And anytime we are above, well, we hope to buy because we have only been above maybe once like this and we didn't really buy that much, right? So right now we are hoping that this clear break will hold price as this area will hold price as support to actually buy this market, right? So I'm actually very interested in this so far, but let us see what we have. Now, another thing that we have is this we have a round psychological level right here, right? So let's draw it. Round psychological level, $1.18,000, right? Now just stick with me here. Let me show you what I have seen so far. First off, the market is bullish, higher high, higher low, or higher low, depending on which one you're looking at. Second, we are coming into area of interest. We are coming very strongly, but as you can clearly see, as you go to area of interest, he spent about 1, 2, 3, 4 days in that area, What does that signify? It signifies that that area is likely to hold because price did not just break it. It has stalled there for 4 days, which means it has slowed down. Secondly, we are at around psychological level, which is usually a take profit target for big banks to the best of our knowledge, right? Fourthly, we are seeing price reacting from last previous structure point. So this right here is this. Let me show you. So price is pretty much coming up and down, right? And this is what we have. So if I bring this out, let me bring this out to show you guys. If I bring this out, you can clearly see this right here is the last previous structure point on the daily time frame, which means we have an area here, an invisible area that maybe you cannot see, but that's just the last previous structure point, which is this one right here, right? So that is a very good information. Only the daily time frame has given us so far, right? That's very good. Now let's go over to the weekly. Let's see what we have there. Weekly time frame, as you can see, weekly time frame now, we had a very strong doji. Now I believe the reason for this red candle is actually to create the wick under this Marabuzu doji, right? So let me come a little bit closer to show you guys. This right here, this candle right here did not have a wick to the bottom, right? So I believe that this candle right here was price coming back to this price point to create the wick to the bottom of this Marabozu candle, right? Now the weekly time frame do not have any very strong reason to buy except from this strong area of interest. So this area of interest is both the daily and the weekly area of interest, right? So this is a very, very, very strong area of interest. Now another thing we need to also know is that price overall direction seems to be going up. From the EMA, you can simply tell that. On the daily time frame from the EMA, again, you can simply tell that price has pretty much been going up, right? And right now we are below. Sorry, and right now price is currently trading above EMA, which also shows bullish momentum, right? Now these are the data on the weekly and on the daily, very clean areas, right? So now let's come over to the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame now, let's see if this market is bullish or bearish. So since we broke under this low, we are still bearish, we are still bearish, we are still bearish. We broke under this lows again, that's very good. We are still bearish, and now we broke above this high. It means that we are currently bullish right now. Now to the 4-hour time frame, price is now clearly breaking highs, right? Now the 4-hour time frame, price is now clearly breaking highs because this right here was the low that price last broke. Let me come closer to show you guys, right? This right here, price broke under this low. This broke under this low. As you can clearly see, it closed under this low. Now because of that, price is now closing above this high right now, which means that this right here is the higher high and this is the higher low. On a normal day, we are supposed to just wait for a break, for a retest, because this right here is the break above this high. So we are going to wait for a retest, maybe to around this right psychological level to buy, right? But me, I'm not that kind of person. I like something that is very clean to my eyes, right? I like something that is very clean to my eyes. So here's my game plan on exactly what I'm going to do, right? Coming if on the 4-hour time frame, I will feel more safe when price has slowed down like this and it's now showing me more bullish signs around this level. I want it to just be like I think there's a pattern like that. It's called like the cup and handle or whatever, something like that. But I just need it to kind of slow down and actually break more highs, right? So that is just a cleaner setup for me. I've been using it. It has been working, right? If you notice during this year, you see me winning trades. This right here, I'm just breaking down these trades so that it will be a very, very step by step. It's going to be a very, very step by step guide, right, on exactly what I do. So this right here, I still need price to break above this high. Now why is that? Because this right here, if price have a retracement to buy, it could actually buy, right? But if we have a break above this high and a retracement to this level right here and we buy, is a little bit more safer. Why is that? Now let me explain what I'm saying. So this right here, if we have a retracement and we buy, how many confluences do we have here? First confluence we have is that price is still bullish. We had a discount, which was a retracement, and an engulfing to buy. So we have a discount and an engulfing to buy, right? So that's the thing that we are seeing on that one. That's what we are seeing on that. But if we have something like this, a break and retest above here, that shows us what now? It shows us that prices is clearly now reacting, is clearly rejecting out of this area, right? It means that price has come to this area and is clearly now shifting structure, clearly bullish. We don't have to come and be looking at these tiny shifts right here. We're going to be seeing a very, very clean shift breaking above all these levels and is now buying right now. Secondly, we are going to be reacting off of this we are going to be reacting off of this previous structure point. That is the next thing. Next thing, this right here is the minor support and resistance area. And another thing we have is this EMA. Price will now no longer be holding it as resistance. It's going to be holding it as support when price have this break and retest. Do you see how many confluences we just added just because we are waiting for this break and retest instead of this one right here? Right? So this is exactly the things I see to add to my pairs. So once we have a break and retest and an engulfing right here, guess what? Our stop loss will have a lot of beating room, because if you buy from here, our stop loss is just going to be somewhere around here. It's very realistic that price will get to that stop loss, right? Price might actually shift bearish. What if this is just a stalling right here? But if right here is clearly breaking above highs and our stop loss is all the way down here, and our take profit is positive, we have enough space to give price, and also we have multiple rejections from this area which we have seen on the daily time frame that is holding, and we will now have a very strong engulfing. If you look at the daily time frame, we will now have another engulfing. For price to get to this level, it's going to be a very strong engulfing, right, for us to now potentially buy. Now on the 1 hour time frame, which is going to be the entry time frame, you can clearly see that now that we are breaking above this high, which price is clearly shifting bullish, as you can see from this, you can tell from this EMA. We need another break above all these highs. We need another break above all these highs, right, to confirm that the market is actually bullish, not just breaking highs, right, to confirm that the market is actually bullish. And once we have that break and retest, we can now buy from this level and then find where to put our stop loss based on the 1 hour time frame, after price has created all those price action, depending on how price have the break, right? So Euro USD, I'm very interested in taking it for this week. So I'm taking my time to actually break this particular weekly setups, right, so that you guys understand. Sometimes it seems like I'm rushing it and you guys just copy me. I want you guys to actually learn and follow, right? So this right here, you can clearly see that price coming into area of interest has been strong. From this EMA, you can tell how strong it has been. But coming into area of interest is slowing down and it's not shifting bullish. I just needed to confirm that it's clearly bullish, breaking new highs, and then I'll be more interested in buying Euro USD this week. Now that just shows me that Euro GBP might actually potentially buy, right? Now we don't do linking of pairs here. Because of Euro GBP is going to buy, it doesn't mean Euro USD is going to buy, because it has a different pair. This is Euro versus GBP. It's not the same thing as Euro versus USD. It's totally different things, right? But that just shows me that the base currency, which is Euro, is likely going to be strong this new week, right? So let's go over to the next pair, GBP card. So this right here now, we'll just analyze the pair the way I usually do it, and let's see what we have there. All right, so GBP card, there will be no need to delete this area of interest, because that is the area of interest that is valid right now. That is the area of interest that is valid right now. So let's just delete all this internal market structure first. Alright, so now what is the information that we're having here on the daily time frame? You can clearly see that we have a head and right shoulder. But we have a left head, right shoulder. And this market structure right now is currently what? Bearish, right? And how is it bearish? If you get the answer, tell me in the comment section. Because this right here is the lower low and this right here is the lower high. We are clearly breaking below lows, and now we are currently under EME. Now what happens when now we are currently under area of interest? Now what happens when we are under area of interest? We are likely to slow down and sell very strongly. We are likely to slow down here, sell very strongly. Anytime we are under, we are likely to slow down, sell very strongly. That is what this market has been doing. We are likely to slow down and sell very strongly. So now coming into area, you can clearly see that we have approached the area, but we have not slowed down yet, right? We have not slowed down yet. So we are likely to wait another day, maybe on Monday, to see that slowdown. Then we potentially sell strongly. So let's see. That's the daily. The daily is bearish. The weekly time frame is what? Now the weekly time frame, I don't like that price action because right now it shows that this market structure is bullish because we have clearly not closed below that low, right? So weekly time frame, okay, the market structure is actually bearish. I'm just realizing now. Sorry for that. So this right here is high, 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 and this right here is now the what? Oh, the market structure is actually bullish. We still closed under this low, right? So let me explain what I was saying. I was thinking this right here was the high, and here was the lower low, right? So this market structure, as long as we are trading within this area, it means that this market structure is still bearish. But if you look closely, you can clearly see that there's some candles outside this area, which clearly means that this is now the new lower low, and the new lower high for that will now be this one right here, which clearly shows that we have now broken above, making this the new higher high, and this the new lower low, or this the new lower low, depending on how you are seeing the market. If it's a one candle retracement, for me this will be the higher. For me, this will be the higher high, and this will be the higher low, right? All right, and so that is the weekly time frame. So we at least need the 4-hour time frame to be bearish for us to sell. Now, as you can clearly see, there's no need to go all the way back here. You can clearly see that we were breaking highs, and now we are now closing under this low. Now that simply means that this right here is the lower low, as you can clearly see, and this right here, and this right here is what? The lower high. Now that simply tells us that what? We are likely to sell this market, right? We are likely to sell this market. Now let me explain something. If you come over to a daily time frame, remember that what we are going to be looking for here is for a slowdown from this area to actually sell, right? Because that's what we have seen multiple times before, right? So now that we are hoping for one day to potentially just be like an indecision, like a doji around this level before we sell the next day, right? It means that we need 1 hour to kind of slow down, which means we are not going to be interested in entering immediately, right? Because we are still waiting for a slowdown. So coming over to the 1 hour now, let us see how it's going to be. All right, now the 1 hour is currently bearish, right? Currently bearish. And why? Because this right here is the lower low, and this right here is the lower high, right? Now we are coming into area of interest. On a normal day, you're supposed to just wait for a retracement and an engulfing like this to sell, or a retracement and an engulfing like this to sell. But I can clearly see that this market has just been breaking all those highs. Even though this entire market structure is clearly bearish, we cannot ignore that this market has been buying when it's supposed to be looking for reasons to sell, right? Now, what is the new game plan that we are going to be using this week? It's going to be very simple for me, because now the daily time frame has told me that we at least need a slowdown. We at least need a slowdown of 1 day at least before we now continue selling the next day. So this is going to be very simple. Here's what we are going to be looking for. Currently, you can see that the EME price is now going to be holding it as support because the buying pressure is now too much. We are supposed to be selling under EME, but looks like price did not sell, right? Now that we are now breaking new highs, even if the entire the market structure is still bearish, this is what I'll look to see. I need price to break new high, right? Come down like this, potentially break another high depending, right? But it doesn't really matter. Then we now need a new shift like this, then a retracement back into the last previous structure point, an area of interest clearly trading below, and then a retracement like this and an engulfing to now potentially sell. All that price action might take 1 day to create. Now let me explain it in a more layman understanding so that you understand what I mean. So if this is the lower low and this is the higher low, right? If this happens, if this break happens, what that means, it means that this will not be the new higher high, because it means that the market is now bullish, right? And this will not be the higher low, right? This will not be the higher low. So if you have a new break just like this, sorry, you have a new break just like this again, right? This will not be the new higher high, and this will not be the new higher low. Then once we shift structure bearish, then this will not be the new lower low. This will not be the new lower low, and this is the point in time where we'll not be interested, because the 1 hour will not be bearish, right? And then a retracement for us to now, a retracement just to get the discount, and then an engulfing as a confirmation to potentially sell. Now, if before this break happens, right, we happen to get like a retracement first. Let me explain. If before this break of this high happens, right, we happen to get like a retracement first before the break happens, then I will not mind having a shift immediately for a retracement to potentially sell, because it means that this will be the higher high, higher low, then will not shift bearish and retracement to potentially sell, right? So all those price action is probably going to take 1 day to create, because this is 1 hour time frame, right? Meanwhile, on the daily time frame, it's just going to look something like a doji or like a stoppage, that same pattern that we are looking for, right? So that is that for GPP card. So I'm taking my time to break down this space so that you understand that sometimes it's not about just following the strategy blindly. Sometimes it's just about reading what the market is doing and having a game plan, because this is the most important part of the week, where you have to break down all these pairs and know exactly what you're about to trade for the new week, so that as soon as you're entering the week, you're not doing extra analysis to kind of know what to do, or you're reacting to what market is doing right now. You're only going to be following the game plan of what you're doing right now, right? So that is that for GPP card. I am adding it for this week, as you can see. GPP JPY. Alright, GPP JPY. We'll delete everything that we have there and see what we have right now. So daily time frame, as you can clearly see, overall market structure is clearly bullish, right? Overall market structure is clearly bullish. Now, we don't have a very clean area of interest, and we are at higher high. Now, according to the strategy, we are not necessarily supposed to be buying or selling at higher highs. But from personal experience, I can tell you that if you have a strong area of interest at higher highs, it's a little bit more safer, because if you have a place where price could react off of, and it shows that the base currency is stronger for a while, right, then it means that it's safer, because you know that the base currency is still strong, and you have an area to actually potentially buy from, which has had reactions in the past, right? I've noticed this thing on gold, so it's actually gold that taught me this particular knowledge, right? Alexi does not trade gold, so I don't expect him to know, or maybe he knows, or maybe he doesn't know, or maybe it's just a preference, right? So first off, what we have is that this market structure is bullish, because this right here is the higher high, and here is the higher low, right? Weekly time frame, well, as you can clearly see that weekly has just been buying week after week after week after week after week, has just been buying. Right now, we don't have a lot of daily data on the weekly time frame, except for the fact that weekly time frame is bullish, right? Great. So now, 4 hour time frame, let us see what we have. Now, we can also call this area of interest a 4 hour area of interest, right? Because price has come to this area and rejected down, come to this area and rejected down, and it came to this area and reject down again, right? Now we are at this area. If price does not sell down and start breaking new highs, it clearly shows that this market will not be bullish, right? So we will be marking that high to see if price can break it. If price can break it like this, then I will not be paying attention to the market to potentially continue buying, right? It's just a foolproof trade. It's just something that's been happening week after week. So once we start seeing breaking of new highs in a bullish market, and we start seeing the opportunities, we are likely to buy this market. This market is not the best of the week, but I'm just going to keep it close to monitor and see, right? Euro JPY, let's see what we have. I expect it to pretty much be the same thing, right? So now this is pretty much the trade we just missed last week because I was on Euro GPP instead. So weekly time frame clearly bullish right now. What I kind of want to see is some form of retracement or a week back into this area to potentially continue buying. That's what the weekly is telling me. Let's see how the daily looks. Daily time frame right now is still bearish technically, right? It's still bearish technically. Right now, I can't really see any price action here to do, but I just know that this market should potentially continue buying. Why? Just because it has been buying. That is the only reason. I just want to see it potentially continue buying just because it has been buying, right? But we're not adding it for this week. We don't have a very clean area to buy off of, so we can't necessarily add Euro JPY for this week, right? Now let's go over to GBP USD. Sorry, NZD USD. All right, so NZD USD. I was explaining how we had two area of interest on the daily time frame, right? We had two area of interest on the daily time frame, but I was telling you guys that I needed a deeper retracement back into this area. I actually feel more safer buying from this area than buying from this area, but that doesn't mean that this area is not valid. The only reason I was looking for this area is mostly because it's going to be a discount level, so it's only FIB that can show me this, right? I just have it in my mind, but if we are buying from a FIB level, you can clearly see that this area is very close to around all the FIB levels. Right here is still at premium, or I don't know what word to use, but you know, is still high. We need a much more deeper retracement to at least half the price to potentially buy. So anywhere within from here to here, I can buy from this market. From here is too expensive. I don't know how else to explain this particular, you know, this particular one of what I mean by premium or whatever, but we don't really use premium or all these things. I'm just telling you guys that half the price, or at least the retracement should come less than half for me to be interested in buying, right? That's what is more safer. By the way, your stop loss will not have to be all the way down here. Your stop loss will not have to be big, because if your stop loss is big, then your take profit is going to be 2 times as big as your stop loss, right? So that's why I prefer a much more deeper pullback, right? So at least less than half or half the price, you know, to potentially continue buying. But let us see what we have. Price is currently around this area. It has reacted from that area, and we have an engulfing on the daily time frame, right? So the market is still clearly bullish. Weekly time frame just had a doji, right? You see, that's what I don't want to see, because after dojis we have a total reversal. As you can see, after doji we had a reversal here, right? After doji right here we had a reversal. After doji we had reversals. You cannot tell me that it's not just it will not reverse. By the way, if we have that reversal and you come back to this area that I'm looking at, you can clearly see it to be reacting off of the previous structure point on the weekly time frame. So it's a little bit more stronger. As you can clearly see, we are looking for more reasons to buy from a certain area than from a certain area. We already know that the market structure is bullish. We already know we are supposed to be buying this market, but where to buy from? And which one is stronger, right? So that is that for the weekly time frame. Let's see how the 4 hour looks. All right, the 4 hour time frame, as you can clearly see right now, is actually currently bullish, right? 4 hour time frames actually currently bullish. If you are looking to take NZD USD for buys and you're planning on buying from this area, right, I strongly advise that, you know, you wait for something like this, maybe a retracement back to this last previous structure point, and break this trend line first, right? And then having a retracement, then it's now here you'll not be interested in buying this market, right? After the engulfing right here, right? So but right now, me, I still prefer that deeper pullback, right? So I'm not really necessarily interested, but I believe that this could actually play out if we have this pattern that I'm looking at. If we don't have this pattern and price pretty much just sell, then I'll be interested in buying from this level instead, right? So I'll just keep it close to monitor, but you know, I don't really think I'm going to trade it this week. Euro AUD next pair. Let's see what the daily is telling us now. Euro AUD. Let's delete everything, but we missed a trade for sales, which was a very clean trade setup for Euro AUD last week, right? Because again, I was on Euro GBP, and there's no need to add extra risk, right? Now, what we can see on Euro AUD is that price is pretty much at a support level right now, right? And that is not really a good sign when you are seeing a very strong bearish market clearly creating new lows. You cannot just assume that you're going to buy here. Why? Because it's at support. That's not the only detail you can get on this page. That's the only detail you can get from this, and you want to buy is too risky, right? It's too risky. Right now, I actually prefer to even sell this market than to buy it. Why? Because the market has clearly been showing recently that it has been selling. That's one information. Now, weekly time frame. Now, weekly time frame is now reacting from what? Now, from the weekly data, you can clearly see that we have a lot more support area, right? Clearly, this area has been respected by price for about, let's see how many days. Let's see how many days, please. So since this level to this level, we don't know if price is going to respect it here, so we can't really count to that level. But from this level to this level, this is about 651 days. Price has respected that level, right? So that is good information, right? But we cannot ignore the fact that price is clearly selling strongly, right? So let's just see what we have. 4 hour time frame is now what? All right, 4 hour time frame is currently still bearish, right? So this market is not good to buy right now. So this market is not good to buy right now, right? We have a very strong weekly area of interest which could potentially hold because that's held about 600 days or thereabout. But we cannot buy right now. And why is that? Because the current price action right now is clearly trending to the downside. Clearly trending to the downside. We cannot just expect it to hold right now, right? So we still need a little bit more price action. We kind of need price to pretty much even stall here if you can. Maybe if you are going to buy, that's if you are going to buy, then start breaking new highs. Maybe break it like twice to confirm that it's actually clearly bullish. Then we'll now look for reasons to buy, right? That is going to be like a form of head and shoulders. As you can see, it's going to be like a form of a reversal pattern. But for now, we have nothing to buy from this market. We have a strong area to buy from, but we can't necessarily buy because the market structure right now is bearish. Next pair, GBP AUD. So GBP AUD last week, I was calling for a sell on this market, which you can clearly see is sold. But I missed it. It's not because I did not get the entry. It's mostly because I was in on another trade. There was no reason for me to add another risk. Right now, I expect market to continue selling, but let me show you what we have. So I'll delete everything on this chart right now and see what we have. So this is pretty much what I was explaining on Euro AUD. Price is selling to the downside very strongly. Let's see if we have an area of interest. Right here, we can't really do anything in this market. We just missed our opportunity, right? We don't have area of interest that is clean enough. As you can see, we are just literally all over the place on this market, to be honest, right? We can't see anything to buy or sell from this market. I am not interested. Next pair, please. All right, so as you guys all know, gold has been selling since it became bearish on the daily time frame. So since this level right here, in fact, this is where price became bearish. So since this level right here, price has been selling. And I don't even trade BTC, but I can tell you for a fact that we would have called this pairs. So let's take a break. Let's take a break from the weekly setups and let us see if we can catch some of these pairs. If we can catch trades on GBP USD. Let us take a break from the weekly setups and I want you guys to follow me. Let's see if we would have caught some trades on USD. Alright, let's take a 2 minute break or thereabouts and let us see if we'll use set and forget strategy to actually catch trades on BTC USD, right? So let us see from where price was at the higher high. As you can see, this is the highest point that price got to, right? So if you are going to be selling BTC USD, what do? We look for an area of interest just like this and wait for price to start trading on that area of interest. Then let's just use break and retest to enter this market and see how it plays out. So if I delete everything and draw that area of interest again, sorry. So if we are trading BTC USD, this will be the area of interest we'll be drawing, because we are having reactions from this area of interest multiple times, right? So all we need is for price to be trading on that area of interest, have a retracement to sell, right? Now coming over to the entry time frame, let's just do this. Entry time frame, we are just taking a break, right, from the weekly setups. Let's see what we have. Wow, this is very far. All right, so this is the area of interest right here. So we have alright, so this right here, the bearish market, we need a retracement and an engulfing to sell, right? So this right here is not an engulfing, this is not an engulfing, this right here is an engulfing. Now the reason we did not take this engulfing is why? Remember, we need at least price to move 50%, right? This right here, I don't know how to explain it. Let's use the fib again. Let's use the fib again. From here, high to low. As you can see, here is still in premium. That's what I was explaining on one of the pairs I was telling you guys just now. Right here, that's why we cannot take this sell right here. We need price to at least get to this level, at least 50% or above, to potentially sell, right? So this right here is not an engulfing until we get an engulfing, which is this right here. We'll sell. Stop loss above these highs. Targets. Stop loss above this high, right? So let's mark that high to be sure, right? Stop loss above this high. Okay, so that's pretty much correct. And then we target 1:2 risk reward ratio. As you can see, TP hit. Right now market is currently bullish, so we have to wait for it to switch bearish. As you can see, switch bearish right here, retracements, engulfing. As you can see right here, engulfing, enter on the next candle after engulfing, stop loss above this particular high right here, right above this high, target 1:2, done. We had a break, retest. I don't know whether you guys can see it. We have a break right here, retracement, engulfing, entry right here, stop loss above this particular high right there, right? Target 1:2, done, right? So right here we have a break, retest, engulfing, as you can see right here, enter, stop loss above this particular high right here, as you can see, target 1:2, done, right? Here we have another, we even have another break and retest here, but no engulfing, so no entry on this one. Okay, we have an engulfing. Okay, so let's assume we have an engulfing here, even if it's a very tiny one. So this is a break, retest, engulfing right here, stop loss above this high right here. This one is SL hit, right? Break, retest, no engulfing, engulfing right here, as you can see right here, enter, stop loss above this particular high, which is this one right here, target 1:2, done, right? Break, the retracement is not deep enough. Remember, it's supposed to be at least 50%, no entries, right? Market has shifted bullish again, breaking above this high, no entries. Now we broke up below this low, which means this is now a break, retest, engulfing right here, as you can see. As you can see, let's enter here, right? Stop loss above this particular high, So let's see if this one hit TP or SL. All right, so stop loss above this particular high. Target 1:2. Let's see if he got to 1:2 first. As you can see, he got to 1:2 first before the reversal. Done. Break. The retracement is not deep enough. No entry. New break. Retraced. Let's see if he got to at least 50%. As you can see right here. As you can see right here, price got to at least 50%, so we can enter that market. So you can have the break, retest, engulfing. As you can see right here. Done. Stop loss above this particular high right here. Target 1:2. Done. As you can see. So, back to back to back. I could continue doing this if you guys want me to do, but let's just continue, right? Let's just continue. Coming back to the weekly setups. Euro NZD. Let's see what we have there. Euro NZD. All right. Euro NZD. Daily time frame is clearly bearish. We have the retracement and we have an engulfing on the daily time frame, right? So let's look for area of interest to buy from. Sorry, not buy, to sell. The market is clearly bearish. Weekly time frame is also bearish because we broke under this low. As you can see, we had a head and shoulder. We should potentially even be selling from here itself, right? I don't know why we did not. Maybe we probably caught it or not, but I highly doubt we did. Right, so right now we are bearish. Daily time frame is also bearish. So let's look for an area of interest if we can get. So let's use this one. Right, okay, so we have an area of interest, the daily time frame. Let's go over to the 4-hour. Forward time frame shifted bullish, as you can see, and now it broke below this low, shifting bearish again. Now the 4-hour time frame is telling us that we're going to be needing a retracement around here to potentially sell. Right, let's see how the 1-hour is looking. The 1-hour is also telling us that we need a retracement to potentially sell. So Euro NZD, I like it for this week. I'll decide if to add it, right? But I like it for this week. You can also see that if you are drawing a trend line, for example, we have a break of that trend line. So we just need a deeper retracement, to be honest, right? We can't necessarily sell from here. If not, our stop loss is going to be all the way up here above this particular high, and then we'll have to now target ×2 of that, which is going to take days. So we need a very deeper retracement to at least 50%, right, for us to sell. So that's that for Euro GBP. Sorry, Euro NZD. GBP USD. Daily time frame. Let's delete everything there and see what we have. Right, so GBP USD is currently bullish, right? So I just realized that we have similarities with GBP USD and Euro USD, right? In this case, they look very similar, right? So now, area of interest is a very clean one that we can see. I'm just going to make it very visible, right? So you can see area of interest holding it as resistance, right? Anytime we are below, we are clearly rejecting down. Right now, we just hope for it to be rejecting or because we are above right now, right? Most of the time that we are above, we don't actually reject to the upside. If you notice, right here we are above, we don't actually reject to the upside, right? So now we are just hoping that it's going to reject to the upside, because this is the only time the price action actually traded far above this area. Right here, all this time did not really trade that far above area of interest, right? So now we also have a round psychological level right here, as you can see, 1.36 thousand. So let's draw it. area of interest, sorry, round psychological level 1.36 thousand. So that is the daily time frame, clearly bullish. Weekly time frame, also bullish. 4 hour time frame is bearish actually, right? 4 hour time frame is currently bearish. Then 1 hour time frame. So we'll decide on how we are going to trade this market. Right now, it seems like we are still going to be needing a little bit more price action on this market, right? Because of the 4 hour time frame, right? I need 4 hour time frame to slow down too, right? Because I like to work with the 4 hour time frame on USD pairs sometimes, right? So I kind of need a little bit more price action. Maybe price should start trading around here. Maybe probably break a new low. Just do something that at least shows us that market is going to be bullish. Then maybe break above this minor support and resistance level that right here, right? Just this minor support and support and resistance level right here. Then trade. Maybe when it's above, it will not be above EME. It will break trend line. We'll have a little bit more market structure to potentially buy. Right now, to me, it's still risky, right? The daily time frames can still do other things, but it might eventually buy, right? But how many days? You don't know how many days. Is this lower time frames that will give us the a little bit more in-depth data on the daily time frames to tell us what to do eventually and when, by the way, and when to do it, right? The daily time frame will just give us the overall market structure, right? To tell us exactly what we'll do. All right, so that's that for GBP USD, right? So we still need a little bit more price action. Let me see what I saw on Euro USD. Euro USD has a little bit more of slowdown. So this right here is a little bit more safer, right, than GBP USD. But GBP USD, I still like it for this week. I'll still monitor to see how it plays out. Next pair, GBP CHF. All right, let's delete everything. Okay, there's no need to delete everything. I remember what we are going to be doing here. So pretty much what I was saying from last week's setups was that this pink line right here or orange line, price, anytime price reacts from that area, it pumps up very strongly, right? It has done that multiple times. Anytime we rise from this area, we move up very, very strongly, right? But right now price is now trading below those areas, which it has pretty much never done. So if you are going to be looking for anywhere to buy, I would actually like for price to actually start breaking all these highs right here, for a break and retest for us to potentially buy. Right now, I am not interested in selling in a market which we don't have any price action here. It has pretty much never sold here before, right? Right now, I'm not looking to buy or sell. In fact, I'm not looking to sell. I'm actually looking to buy eventually if the opportunity presents itself, right? All right. NZD another pair. NZD for buys. Clearly, you can clearly see that the market is moving to the upside. Weekly time frame is clearly going to be bullish, as you can see, and 4 hour time frame is also bullish right now, right? So, but we don't have area of interest. That is the only downside to this now. We don't have an area of interest. So there's pretty much nothing for us to do. We'll just miss it because we don't have area of interest. Right? We are following our rules. GBP NZD next pair. Daily time frame is bearish. Now we have a very strong area right here now. So we will not just ignore it like it's not just there. Right? At where current price action is right now, market structure is has a lot of support and resistance level right here. So it's at a very strong area right now, right? So GBP is at a very strong area right now to buy potentially, right? But this market structure is clearly bearish. So what do we do in a bearish market? We look for sales, and the area of interest then us buy. So what do? I will potentially continue selling this market. So let me see this. Okay. All right. So here's my game plan. Here's what I'm thinking. We have this strong level right here. Anytime we are below this level, we are rejecting down strongly, and when we are above, we are rejecting up strongly. Right? Anytime we are above, we are rejecting up strongly. Whenever we are below, we are rejecting down strongly. Now, the current price action on this market is actually bearish. Right? It's actually bearish. Daily is bearish. Weekly is bearish. 4 hour is bearish. Now, what's the best game plan for me to do here? Look for ways to continue selling, but under this area, because this price might actually hold it as either support or resistance. Right now that we're seeing that it's actually currently bearish, I'll actually hope that we're going to be using this area of interest as resistance to potentially continue selling. So that's my game plan, and here's what I plan on doing. I'll draw a minor area right here just to be sure that anytime we are now trading below that minor area, we are clearly under this area of interest. And then maybe potentially something like this, hopefully. Maybe we're not trading under, we'll now look for a retracement and an engulfing to sell. That's it. So I'm adding it for this week. That's what I'm looking to see. Let's see how the 1 hour looks before I add it for this week. Okay, so 1 hour is very undecisive. As you can see, we are selling, and now from the EMA you can clearly tell that it's slowing down, right? So we need price under this 1 hour. As you can clearly see, that's the reason for this minor box to break under all these lows, right? So we kind of need like a retracement just to show that it's respecting market structure. And then when it breaks under these lows, like right here, breaking under this low, then we wait for a retracement of all that lows to potentially continue selling. So I'm adding it for this week. GBP NZD for sales. NZD card. NZD card daily time frame. Let's see what we have there. Alright, daily time frame. I was expecting a deeper retracement to buy. Pretty much, I told you guys there was an invisible area of interest here. Area of interest. I don't know whether you guys remember that, but I highly doubt you do, by the way. So let me just draw it. Let me stop saying it's invisible. So this is the area of interest right here, right? So when we are above area of interest, we are buying. When we are above, we are buying. When we are below, we are selling. So now that we are above, we are expecting it to come back down and buy, right? But I was actually not interested. The reason for that was because of that deeper retracement to at least 50%, right? So that's the reason I did not actually add that pair for that week. But he bought, right? Same thing with this market too as well. Waiting for a deeper retracement to buy. So we are not interested in this particular one. Pretty much the same thing as AUD card again. USD JPY is bearish. It's crazy enough because other JPY pairs I'm expecting it to buy, and USD JPY I'm not expecting it to sell because of this market structure. Alright, so what do we do here? First off, we draw an area of interest. Let's see the area of interest that we're drawing here. As you can already tell from my voice, I'm pretty much tired. But remember that this work I'm doing right here, I'm doing it for the entire week. So I'm doing one work for the entire week. During the week, I will just trade my game plan. So right now I'm planning the week. Then during the week, I now trade my plan. That's how it just goes, right? So now we are approaching area of interest and we are slowing down. So clearly we see that we had to slow down here. Weekly time frame is bearish. Crazy enough, it's actually bearish, and we are at a high on the weekly time frame. So that's why this market shifted bearish. Okay, so now the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame is pretty much bullish actually, right? But we still need more price action, like a new high like this, for example, and it shifts before we sell. So let's look for that trend line. Man, this market is confusing when you don't have a lot of price action on the 4 hour. right? For now, I don't necessarily know how I'm supposed to play it, but I know that it's probably supposed to be selling, right? Because of the daily time frame. Look at the daily time frame. Is that clean break retest, and now we are waiting for engulfing to sell, right? So I'll decide on what to do on this pair. Maybe have a break under this low right here. I'll just keep this pair very close. I want to see how it plays out, right? I want to see how it plays out. So USD JPY are keeping it very close to see how it plays out. CAD JPY for buys because it's at higher high right now. CAD JPY for buys. Okay. CAD JPY on the daily time frame. We have pretty much good markets this week. I can't necessarily make a decision on CAD JPY here, right? We have good enough pairs to trade this week. USD card. Alright, USD card daily time frame. Now we have a strong area of interest right here, right? Daily time frame. Anytime we are below, we are rejecting down. Anytime we are above, we are rejecting up. Good stuff, right? Right now, price is bearish, and now we had a retracement back into area of interest, right? On USD card. Now that's the data on the daily time frame. The weekly time frame is also bearish, as you can tell from price breaking this low, right? Now we are going to be reacting from area of interest again to potentially continue selling. 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, in my opinion, is bearish right now, right? 4-hour time frame is bearish right now. So we are looking to sell this market. Alright, so here is my game plan on this market, right? This one is a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but I'm not falling for that. I've seen this before, right? I've seen this before. So I need price to actually break new low. So I want it to break this particular low. Now, if you look at this market, it shifted bullish and it shifted bearish. Now, at this retracement, this is not a normal retracement. If you look at this retracement, it's engulfing candles, right? It's engulfing this particular candle. From the EME, it's just a flat line, which means that this right here is just an indecision that is happening right now, right? Clearly, it's bearish from market structure, but this is just an indecision. I have seen this before. So here is how I'm supposed to play this market, and here is what I plan on doing. So we know that our bias is sales. So what I'll wait for is for price to do whatever market structure it has to do here. But once we have this break, I'll not be interested in the retest to potentially sell to this structure point. That alone is still going to give me a 1:2 risk to reward ratio, which is also a positive risk to reward ratio, right? So I actually prefer that because it's a little bit more safer. So I'll be marking the structure point on a daily time frame where we are supposed to be taking our profits, right? Just to be very aware of what we're about to do, right? So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for USD card, right? And the last pair is AUD JPY, of which we are not interested because we don't have area of interest, as you can clearly see. So I will choose the best pairs. I have chosen the pairs that have the opportunity that we're going to trade this week, right? But I will still choose the best pairs that we have. I didn't even add USD card. So I will select the pairs. I'm sure I have about 5 pairs. Very good. And we still have some indecision pairs right here. right? So I'll make a new video I'll make a new video, right, explaining this again, and then I will. So that's pretty much it, guys. I will make a shorter version of this video explaining these pairs again, just to um I'll be making a shorter version of this video just to explain these pairs again in a way that you understand, and that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next video.